Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of our Beyond the Stories podcast. I'm your co-host, Hayden.
I'm Gabe.
And today we have a special guest all the way from Tacoma, Washington. He is our cousin, and he is...
My name is Braeden Samura. Nice to meet you guys.
Yes, sir. Currently attending college in his fourth year at the University of Pacific Lutheran. He plays football. At high school, he was a multi-sport athlete, playing a little bit of everything: football, baseball, basketball, just all around doing it all. So it's good to have you here. It's good to be talking with you.
Pleasure, time, bro.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you being here. All right. Let's get this start off nice and easy. What was the first sport you ever played when you were younger?
The first sport I ever played was basketball. My mom was a basketball player in college, so already she kind of just determined that I was going to be a hooper from when I was 4. So you know how it goes.
Yeah, for sure. Was she
Did you have a
coaching
nice-
you up too?
Did you have a nice jump shot back when you were little? No.
I was a big man, bro. It seems weird, but I was the biggest guy on the court, but my actual stature lines up to that of a point guard. So everybody else, they were smaller, so they put me at post because, big guys always go down to the square. So
Was she coaching you up a lot?
yeah, she was. I will say it was more parenting than coaching at some points. My older cousins also helped with coaching the team. So they did more of the coaching. She did more of the parenting. When she tried to coach, it was just kind of like a really weird mix of both,
Yeah, I think he and I can attest to that. I mean, we've seen both sides of parenting and the coaching side when we're at practice, and then you get to talk at home too about what you could have done better and all that.
Exactly.
All right, cool. So obviously basketball was your first sport. When did you start taking up football?
I played flag football, roughly around that 5-6-year-old age group. I stopped after a few years because it interfered with extracurricular activities outside of sports. But I started my first ever full contact, full padded football season 8th grade.
Hey, how much do you think flag football kind of prepared you for taking up the pads and all that?
I think when it came to knowing the game, how the game was played, I think that it was a seamless transition, getting a base understanding of 11 on each side, different positions, how to run a certain play on offense and defense. But the physicality of between the two different sports, flag football couldn't prepare me for that. You know what I mean? We're wearing flags, and the main thing was to pull the flag off of somebody else's hip.
Yeah.
On the flip side, full padded football, you're trying to take somebody's head off every play. You know what I mean? So there wasn't an in between. It was here padded football and here flag football when it comes to physical aspects.
So kind of transitioning into flag to tackle, what kind of really helped you prepare mentally for it? That's a big change. And obviously taking contact isn't easy. So was it something you kind of took naturally, or did you have to slowly over time get used to it?
I think it was a little natural. Grade, right? You're in middle school and you're probably about 13 maybe. So it was about 6 years since I played any kind of football. So the mental part of football, it took me a little bit to catch up on. I played quarterback in 8th grade, so it was a weird dynamic from what I play now. I play D-line, so learning how to run a play, call a play, make audibles as the play is forming around you. That was a little hard, but the physical part, us from Hawaii, dude, already built tough, so it wasn't too bad. I think the first time I got seriously rocked in 8th grade, I was kind of stunned. I was like, dude, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Just kind of that dazed moment. But at the same time, it's I was a lot bigger than everybody else at that age, so it didn't hurt that bad. You know what I mean? It was just a welcome to football moment, and then you get used to it right after that.
No, yeah, exactly. I remember taking my first hit over here at Pacific because I'm used to giving the hits. We played line with each other in high school. So when I took my first hit, I was like, oh shit,
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's like. Cool. But I don't know. That's just kind of how it was for me. And then obviously transitioning from 8th grade into high school, the kids are bigger, stronger, and faster. So what was that like for you?
Don't get me wrong. It was my second year ever of playing contact tackle football. So mind my language, but I was scared shitless. I did not know what to do. I was going against guys that were, I think the biggest guy I went against was a senior. He might have been 6'4", 230. And he was in high school, but he was a hooper. So it's you would think he wouldn't hit that hard, but 6'4", 230 coming at you full speed can hit pretty darn hard. You know what I mean? And I never played free safety until my freshman year. I was kind of skinnier, a little faster. So they put me at free safety. I never played there. I didn't know what to do. I was scared to hit. I won't even lie. But that transition, it was difficult. You know what I mean? Like trying to pull your big boy pants on. Like, yeah, I'm playing, kids that got 4 years on me now, not same age kids. You know what I mean? Yeah, like it was difficult, both physically and mentally. High school ball is a little different, a little more schemes you got to run, a little more complicated plays because you're a little bit older. But other than that, like anything, you keep going at it, you get used to it. After a little while, you kind of perfect the way you want to play, the way you run your schemes, like in alignment with what the coaches want.
How did you really deal with that transition of also including the schoolwork into high school athletics?
You got to make time for it. A lot of people ask like, how do you keep yourself in check, or like how do you balance it? I'm like, well, it's up to you. You know what I mean? Like you gotta make the time. You gotta see that the priorities of school allow you to play football, especially in high school and college. You gotta do well in the classroom so that you can stay eligible to play, right? So you gotta make sure that school is your top priority. And I think to manage that, like I would work out in the mornings, before school. That would leave after practice until I went to sleep, to do homework. And we also had breaks in between classes. Sometimes we'd have three classes in the morning and then we'd have lunch after our third class. And then how high school for me was scheduled, like either we'd have like another break, like as our break, after class or after lunch, or like class and then free time, basically. So when I had those sections, those hour periods, I would go hit the books or at least try, you know what I mean? Make an effort to help myself get ahead so that later that night I wasn't scrambling around my room before I was trying to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, people who don't work out, they won't know. But like getting up early in the morning to go lift sucks. Like you're
Yeah.
tired. It's probably decently cold. So how did you keep yourself disciplined to like be like, okay, I gotta go hit the gym, get myself in good shape for the season and all that?
I started lifting weights because I wanted to, look better, be stronger, be bigger. And I think that just carried on, as high school went through and then even into college. But like to stay motivated, I also had classmates around me that were like, dude, I wanna lift too. Like if I can get dropped off in the morning, can I come lift with you? And I was like, you know what? More the merrier. You know what I mean? And it also helped that the seniors, my freshman year of high school, like they were also wanting to get into the gym too. So they made it easy as well. Like, hey, there's this 18-year-old guy that's inviting me to come lift with him and his friends as a 14-year-old freshman. You know what I mean? So just that older brother kind of figure, as a freshman in high school, seeing that, having that person invite you into the gym, it keeps you motivated. And then you learn how to like I said, make it your own, right? You find your own passion, your own motivations on top of that. And then, you see yourself in the gym without them, when they're not there after they graduate. So that's how I kept myself motivated.
So you say like having go. No, go. So you say like having that senior to like help get you kind of started was like big for you. And
Was it
like
big or is it big?
no, like was it big for you to have like that guy like kind of invite you in to help get you comfortable with the gym and all that?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like, unless you're watching videos on YouTube or like your dad or your uncle is lifting, at 14 years old, you're not gonna know 2 cents about weightlifting. You know what I mean? So any help, regardless if it's just like some old school backyard, grab a bar or grab a pipe and press it for 30 times, curl it for 30 times, like that's enough. You know what I mean? And then you just keep asking. You know what I mean? The more people you talk to, the more friends you make, like they're gonna give you input, right? So tie it back into your question. Just like, yeah, like it helps having somebody older kind of guide you through it. So one, you're not doing it alone, and two, you have somebody as like your mentor.
But you also talked about like you wanted to feel stronger, get better, be in better shape. Was that huge on your confidence? Like going into high school, you probably saw a bunch of kids like bigger than you, where you're like, I need to get big like them so I could show off a little bit? Or was it more kind of like I need to get in this shape to perform better?
Yeah, I think it's the second part of your statement, getting big to perform better. And don't get me wrong, looking big and strong is cool, right? Turns a couple heads, makes the coaches be like, dang, that kid got some size, he put in the work. But to actually be good at your sport, you have to perform well. And I think like to train for something, you have to train to be better at it. You can't let it like boost your ego, like, oh yeah, I'm bigger than you, I'm tougher just because I lift weights. It's a more of a I train 24/7. I do all the things I'm supposed to do, and I'm better at you because I am more technical in my sport. You know what I mean? So like using the weight room, it was just another stepping stone to improve your performance on the field.
I feel like a lot of people, they don't really realize how important like lifting weights is, especially for football. Like you have to be strong, but that's only like a very small part of the game. You also have to be like running and keep yourself in good like running shape. So how did you keep yourself in running shape while also balancing that with the gym too?
Well, as Hayden said already, kind of like part of my introduction, like I was a multi-sport athlete, right? So I was running 24/7, regardless if I actually took time out of my day to go for a run or if I was running in another sport, you know? I never got to a point where I needed to run every day because I was already running every day against, I don't want to say against my will, but like practice. I mean, like you go to football practice, you run there. You run a little bit more after practice, to get the extra cardio. You go to basketball practice, you run, and with that kind of cardio, it translates into other sports. And then like we have more ways of cardio back home instead of running, right? Like you go to the beach and you go swim for 2 hours. You go frolic in the water like a dolphin. Like that's already gonna help you with your cardio on top of the running that you're doing for football. So it's like if you make cardio fun, it becomes a lot easier to do. But then you also like find your joy. You find joy in it once you see the progress too. So for me, like I just go do sprints in the morning. I do hill sprints after I go lift. Or some days I would just spend an hour sprinting in the morning with my dad while he's working and like before school started, just to like get the extra reps in. That's how I kept the cardio going.
I think that's a good point. Like you have to make it fun. Otherwise, nobody's gonna want to run.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then talking about how disciplined you were throughout high school, how did you maintain that through your junior season when most of the sports were shut down and the only person you had to compete against was yourself? How did you keep that like mentality of I'm doing this for the future to be better, to play my best?
That's a good question. There a lot of people didn't have access during that COVID year to like a facility. I was fortunate enough that my dad works at HBA, so through him I had access to like the fields, the facilities, so I was able to keep myself in check, right? But also I had developed a passion for strength training and working out and getting better at football. So there was never a time where I was just sitting at home doing nothing. And if there was, like, I was watching football highlights. It's like my mind was already just football, football, football. You know what I mean? That's all I cared about. And, if I didn't have access to a weight room, I just do push-ups at home. Or like I had my dad set up like two steel pipes, pin them against two posts in the backyard, and that was my pull-up bar. Do crunches. And if I wanted to run, I'd go run around the neighborhood. It's only because like that passion that I had for being physically fit and being physically stronger in football, like that's what carried me through. Just self motivation, they call it. I didn't know if we are gonna get a senior year. There's always a hope, but you have to be a little optimistic in a time like that, just because you don't know what's gonna happen next. One day COVID could be at all time high, next week it could be low, and then 4 days later the CDC is like, you know what? We'll open up facilities again. Like you guys can go back to school, just wear masks and follow all these rules. So you never know, right? You never know like the unpredictability of the environment around you. So if you're able to control like what you want to do, control yourself, like within your inner circle, I think that helps to keep you motivated, tune with yourself and what you want as your goals, right?
Yeah, and that COVID year sucked. I mean, that was my senior year, so like
Yeah.
missing that year definitely sucked. But I think you did the right thing by just keeping yourself in check. Whether you were working out at HPA or working out at home, like it sounded like you were always keeping yourself locked in, which I think is really important, especially in that time of lockdown when I feel like people really didn't do anything and people got really lazy. So
Yeah. I agree.
it was good on you to keep yourself like in shape just in case there was that next year where you were able to play again.
Right.
Speaking of that next year where you got to play again, I feel like you seem to have really built a really strong connection with my dad over the time you were playing at HBA.
Yeah.
So what was it like to kind of have a family member as a coach? And did you find that it helped give you a little bit of extra fuel to perform better?
Yeah, I like that last part you said, the extra fuel. Obviously, your dad's my uncle, right? So like outside of football, like our connection was already great because we lived in the same town. I went to school with the both of you guys. So it's like I was surrounded by y'all 24/7, if not even more than that. But about having your dad as my coach, our relationship was really professional. We were able to separate uncle and coach. Like, don't get me wrong, like sometimes like before practices, like it interweave. You're like, yo, what's up, Unc? You know what I'm saying? Like before practice. But once the first whistle was blown, it's coach. You know? And at the back of my mind, like, yes, your dad's my coach, but I still have a deeper connection with him so I can ask him things on the side. Or like I feel like I can reach out. You know what I mean? So like having a family member as a coach, I definitely think it has its benefits. You know, it helps you become more comfortable in the sport. It helps you kind of relax a little bit, you know, but that can also be the same for drawbacks, right? You have like a family figure. Now there's a lot of pressure, like unnecessary pressure on your shoulders that you think that they're setting for you, like expectations, you know, what they want you to do, how they want you to perform. But it's also like another setback, I should say, or another downside of having a family member is they might even lose that fine line between coach and uncle, or like coach and mom, you know? So that's always something you have to worry about. But for my personal experience, like having your dad as my coach was really great. And we could joke around at practice, you know. We could talk about football related things or non-football related things. And we could also like I could also pull him aside and be like, "Hey, like I'm having a rough day. Like just tell me what I got to do. What do you have to say for? How can you help me?" You know, just asking him for like personal help. But then also it's like the level of respect on top of that. Not only you're my coach, but you're also my uncle. So it's just like a double, like a double X on respect, right? And that respect comes back to you as a nephew or as a player.
Yeah, for sure. How big is it? How important do you think it is for an athlete to have the comfortability with a coach to be able to reach out and have a coach that you're close with to reach out to them when, excuse my language, shit goes south and like, like upstairs, you're not doing so well. So like when you have a really bad day or you're having a tough week and you have that coach that you can kind of reach out to, how important is that for an athlete to have a coach like that?
I think it's probably one of the most important things, you know, like especially if you're an athlete away from home. I think having a coach that is almost like family is a really good thing to have. And I'm going to use my coaches at PLU, for example, because I've been with them for the last 4 years. But when I was a senior in high school getting recruited, like these coaches were calling my personal phone, like we were scheduling meetings, obviously the professional stuff, right, with recruiting. But as like I started to sign my contract, right,
Yeah.
as my commitment, right, they would call me personally and ask me like how school's going, right? Like as a friend instead of a coach. So already like you can see that, you know, certain coaches and players, not saying that they're picky and choosy, but certain coaches will be more straightforward and more caring towards their players. And then, you know, as I got to campus, like already the coaches were welcoming, you know? Like usually during your first day of football, like you don't get to meet families of coaches, like you kind of progressively meet them over the course of that season. I met every single coach and every single one of their families the first day of football. So it's like it was a big community like that was there to introduce us to PLU and all of that stuff. So like already they're showing me as a player like, hey, you're here, you're part of my family now. And my kids are now like your younger siblings. Or like my wife is now your auntie, right? And I think for a player, it's huge because not only does it allow you to be comfortable with somebody, you know, it allows you to use them as like an outlet. You know, if you're having problems like mentally, like if you're homesick or if you're not doing good in school, right? But also if you're even having problems outside of school, like these coaches have offered me so many times, you know, if I go to a party or if I go out with my friends, like, hey, if again, excuse my language, if shit goes south while you're out doing something, don't be scared to give me a call. I'll bark at you, you know, for waking me up at 3 in the morning, but I'm also going to be grateful because you decided to call me instead of handling things, you know, if you're not in the right mind space. So I think for players, it's really important to build that connection with a coach or with five coaches or with the whole coaching staff.
Yeah, and I think that's honestly part of the reason why Pacific's team is not as connected as it could be. I feel like there's not that like tight connection with the coaches and the players. I don't know if it's like a philosophy thing or if the player or if the coaches just don't really present that they care that much anymore. But that's definitely how it felt when I played. So like to have that experience for you, I think that's really awesome. And I feel like it definitely reflects a lot on PLU and how they seem to build like a real sense of ohana around like the team. And it shows that they wanted you there with what they just how they introduced themselves and how they welcomed you to campus, I think was pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. Like I went to a handful of my coaches' houses for dinners, like as position groups, you know? And like our coach would be like, "Hey man, we're planning a dinner to have you guys over on this certain day of the week. Like just clear your schedules and come. If you can't, it's all good." But like I don't really know if I've been to another coach's houses like in my youth, like besides like a team parent slash
Yeah.
coach. You know what I mean? Or like your guys' house, right?
Yeah.
You guys are family. But yeah, like I've been to coaches' houses, like I've gone out to lunches with coaches, like, "Hey coach, do you have a minute to get a bite to eat or go get a coffee? Just want to hang out and talk." Right. And then they're saying, like, "Yeah, dude, what time are you free? I'm free at 12. Let's do it." I'm like, perfect. You know what I mean? Like just those kind of opportunities, like coaches will meet and talk to you outside of football. Like they'll separate football, right? And like personal life and they'll separate it, which makes it really easy to like form like a strong father-son dynamic, or maybe like best friend or older brother, younger brother, you know, depending on how old the coach is. Obviously it depends on what kind of relationship you have. But yeah, like I've gone so close to my coaches. Like we went to a wedding together and like we had a really fun time, like, you know, the whole nine.
Damn, that's sick. Not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
So I guess you could say it was a very smooth transition going from HBA to PLU. Just kind of like that welcoming environment kind of helped you settle in very easily and kind of put a lot of stress off of your plate from having to be like, who can I reach out to if I'm ever feeling like down or if I need somebody to pick me up? You're all suited right from the get-go.
Yeah. No, I definitely think it was pretty smooth. I mean, outside of football and outside of those coaches, right? Like all three of us know that HBA is a college prep school. Our classes are formatted, simulated to be similar to that of colleges. So like academically, the transition was pretty seamless, you know. Maybe I shouldn't have taken off, you know, mentally my freshman year. Maybe I should have taken it more seriously, you know, like as all freshmen do. But yeah, like that academic transition, like it was pretty smooth. Like I already had a understanding of structure, you know, academic structure, you know, timing, the whole nine. And then yeah, like athletics, like the coaching staff at HBA, right? Your guy's dad was my coach. I had other, you know, older cousins that were coaching me. And then like even for basketball, like Coach Fred, like I grew up with his son Bear. Like we were classmates. We'd hang out outside of school. So before he was Coach Fred, he was Uncle Fred. You know what I mean? Or Mr. Warner, right? So like I think that's a unique thing about Hawaii though. Like a lot of this like ties back to where we're from. I think that that sense of family is really strong. You know, anybody can be your family, even like your coaches, and that like it translates and helps to, you know, develop growth in sports in school. But yeah, back to the whole transition thing, you know what I mean? Like it was seamless. That the relationships that you strive to build or that you want to build with your coaches made that transition smooth into PLU.
Yeah, that's actually facts. I never really thought about that. Like, I feel like it all does kind of tie back to where we come from and like the connections we build with our coaches. Because, I mean, this is kind of cliche, but like I feel like majority of them have that like aloha spirit, right? And like they really make you feel like you're more than a player.
Right.
When once the final whistle at practice ends, like you feel like more than a player. Like they care about you. They want to see you do well. I think to some extent that can also transition over to college too. And I mean, you already said you had that experience, so it's cool to hear. It's cool to hear about that. Now I want to ask you, like, what do you feel like were the differences in culture between HPA football and PLU football?
Ooh, that's a big question because that question there's so many ways to go about it, right? Like starting off, you know, like at HBA we don't have like a set strength and conditioning program. Or correct me if I'm wrong, Hayden. Do you guys have like a set time, set day, like
Set
a
day,
set?
like a sec. Not really. We don't have anything that's like mainly related to football players unless we go to like spring camp and none of that.
Right. So I think like I want to say all, but I know a lot of high schools like in America, United States, like they got strength and conditioning in high school. They got coaches there that are like making athletes better. From my experience, I didn't have a strength and conditioning coach, and like if I wanted one, I had to pay for it, which I couldn't afford it in high school, nor did I want to break my parents' bank. So I did all the training on my own, right? Like I did the research. I looked up, you know, D1 workout programs or like football workout programs or bodybuilding workout programs. And I spliced and I made and I created my own. So back to that whole difference or like the difference between PLU and HBA, like the culture, like there wasn't a strength and conditioning program, so there wasn't already an outside, you know, avenue for the boys to be together. I had to do it myself. And I think team wise, like you're 14 to 18, you're in high school, you're going to be immature, you know what I mean, in high school. And comparing that to 19 to 21, 22-year olds in college, right? I know guys that have 3 kids and are married for 2 years that I've played with since my freshman year that are my age, 21. You know, I think high school, like, no shame on high school, but it's very sporadic. It's very like dispersed, very segregated, separated, if that's the right term. When it comes to like outside of football, you know what I mean? In football, everybody's with each other every single day for 3 hours. You know what I mean? But like outside of it, like you might hang out with one person or 2 people in high school. In college, like all of us were staying in the dorms together. Like we practically had a whole wing on a certain floor of football guys. So like we wake up, we see each other at 6 in the morning, and we don't leave each other's side till when we go to sleep at like 9 o'clock at night. So already like that culture is different because I'm with those guys 24/7. They become family. They become my brothers. And we have this thing at PLU, it's called the yes man culture. So instead, like, when people ask you a question like, hey, do you want to go somewhere with me? Instead of saying, nah, bro, I can't do it right now, you say yes. And that right there just opens more opportunities to get closer to your friends, get closer to your coaches, get closer and, open yourself up to serving the community around you. So already like in college, PLU's culture is serve others, open doors, Lutz open doors, and not actual literal doors, but like opportunities. We open opportunities for our brothers. We walk in the door of opportunity to help people in the community, to serve other people, whether it be your roommate or, the dude 2 doors down that doesn't play football. You know what I mean? So yeah, like the difference is inclusion, brotherhood, friendship, you know what I mean? Taking care of one another. And I'm not saying that it's not like that in high school. It's just on another level,
Yeah.
right? Like in high school, you max out at level 50. In college, that just gets bumped up to like 150, 200. You know what I mean? So there's levels to it, just like how there's levels to football, right? You'll see it, as you go through your career. Hayden's still, he's still in high school, so he's gonna see the difference when he goes and he's a freshman at UPS.
Yeah.
Go Lutz, man. Sorry, I have to say it, bro.
You're fair. That's fair.
Those guys across the sound, man. Should've came to Louisville. But anyway, yeah, like you'll see it for yourself. Like any athlete that goes to college will see it for themselves. Like high school dynamics is so much different than college. Like they might be similar, like the gossip in college, takes you back to the gossip in high school, or the school from college might take you back to like those hard APs in high school. But like it's just increased in intensity, if that's another way to put it. So that's like the main difference, right? Intensity of the difference in culture between the schools and between the levels.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also really like the yes man culture. Is that what you called it?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I think that's huge because, I mean, you build friends really easily, and coming to a completely new place after being at home for like all your life, like having just that like culture, that yes man culture to be like, yeah, sure, I'll go out with you, bro. Or yes, coach, I'll go out with you. Like have a conversation and hang out. It's so much easier to make connections that way instead of being like, oh God, I'm here. I don't know anybody. How do I make friends? Like, yeah,
Right.
you have your football boys, but like once season ends, you got to make other friends too. You can't just always rely on your boys because then they're gonna have their groups too that they want to go hang out with. So you got to make like other friends too. So I think that yes man culture is really cool because, like you said, in high school we practice together and then we all just go away. Some people will hang out, but like you're not like tight like you are in college. I feel like,
Exactly.
yeah.
I agree.
Let's see.
So I actually have a question, maybe 2 for you. So what was your final game like? This could be your last football game of your life, potentially. So what were the emotions like for you? Like, how did it feel? Take me through everything.
Like my last game
Yeah.
this season.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like you play a sport for 4 years, like for 8 years, maybe more than that. Like that time is coming. There's dread. Like it's gonna be my last time playing football with these guys. My last time playing football. ever. For me, like I accepted it. You know what I mean? I accepted that it was gonna be my last year, so it didn't hit as hard as it did for some of the other guys. You know, not saying that I didn't care about football, because dude, I eat, drank, piss, shit, sleep, everything football. Right, that was my life for the last 4 years. But I knew, like all things, like it comes to an end, and that football was just another stepping stone of opportunities that were gonna open up, after I finished my season. So I wasn't too sad, but I also wasn't too happy about it either, because like I love playing football. I love waking up. I love putting the pads on, going against my boys at 100% at 6 in the morning. You know, so I was sad, for sure. But yeah, like I was saying, I accepted it. So it was kind of like a serene moment. Like, this is kind of unreal that it's my last game, but I'm happy it's my last game because I'm sore and I'm tired. But also, like, it was fun. You know what I mean? And if you can look back at your last game and say, yeah, I had fun playing this sport for 4 years, then I think you did pretty all right. You know what I mean? I think you did pretty good by yourself. You can enjoy something and be like, yeah, that was fun. I'll do it again in a heartbeat. I'll do it again next year. I think you're doing pretty good for yourself. So yeah, that was kind of basically my whole thing for my last game. Like, I was ready for it to be done. I was sore. I did 4 years of waking up at 5:30 in the morning for practices at 6. Like, weight training was brutal. Being cut, bruised up was brutal. Felt like my body was gonna fall apart. But it was also like, I'm happy I did it. I'm sad it has to go, but I'm happy. I'm content with how everything went.
So then, what are you doing now that football is over? What do you plan on doing, and how do you kind of continue to build on that legacy that like you were that guy when you put the pads on? And how do you help other people like gain that mentality from your experiences?
I think mentorship helps with that. Talking to someone like you, Hayden, right, who's still still in high school, right? Like showing him the ropes, like showing you the ropes, telling you my experiences, but also like helping you figure out how you want to be in college. When you further progress to play at this level. I will say I wasn't that guy. I was one of the guys. I wasn't that guy. There's a lot of other better players on this football team that I played with, and like even that, their mentorship helped me excel in my position group or in my skills on and off the field. So I think mentorship's like a really big thing. And now that football's over, I have all this free time, so I started to train for the High Rocks competition. That just adds like that same intensity to my life that was missing from football. And like the young guys see it, like they see me working every day in the gym. Like I bring them along on my workouts and they're like, "Is this what you do to like keep you busy?" I'm like, "Yeah, bro. Like if you find something that brings you the same passion, the same fire that football does, like you'll be okay." You know what I mean? And if football is that passion and that fire, it keeps you going, then pour all your eggs into it. You know what I mean? Like put 100% of your effort into that one thing and do it as best as you can, and you'll come to find that it's pretty enjoyable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's facts. I definitely felt like I lost a little bit of my identity when I left the Pacific team
hmm
4 years ago, 5 years ago. But I mean, it sounds like you coming up to the end of your career, you sound like you're pretty okay without football. I mean, like you got other stuff you want to do, like you training for that competition, and it seems like you got some stuff figured out. So
Yeah.
you're already doing better than me, bro. So good stuff.
Yeah, I also think like, like I moved off campus, but I moved in with football guys. So it's like I'm not football absent. You know what I mean? Like we might not be on the football team anymore, but I met these guys while I was playing football. So like association, right? Like these are my boys from football. But at the end of the day, they're my boys, and they went through the same struggles as me. And some of them are training for the CFL. So they're still in football. So we talk about that. That's how I stay engaged with football. But I'm also friends with the younger guys, right, that are still playing football. So it's not like my life is completely absent of football. I myself might not be a part of it, but I have guys that, I play through that, I can like kind of live through them, with football. You know what I mean? So I'm not absent from it. I fill my time with other things, but yeah, that's how I kind of deal with the post football feelings and emotions.
I mean, yeah, that's what I did too. I just kind of found out what made me happy without it and then started hanging out with the boys more. I felt like I had more free time. Obviously, it sucked to not play, but that's besides the point. Unless Hayden's got any more questions, I'll hit you with the music question now. But you got any more?
I'm all tapped out. I'm all good.
Okay, sick. So this is like our thing on this show. We like to ask everybody that comes on just like, what is a song or an artist that you listen to that helps you either lock in or put you in a better mood than you were before you started listening to said music?
Okay. It's actually a good question because I was lifting the other day and I was trying to find a song to like kind of get me out of like a funk. I won't say I was in a funk, but I was just tired.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, oh, I don't want to be here. I took some pre, but it's not hitting yet. And I'm like, dude, I need some music to pump me up. I tried rap. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love rap. I listen to the Baby all the time. You know, I
He's
listen
good.
to Pop That Thing. Right, that's one of them
Mhm,
by the Baby.
mhm.
But the other one though, this might get you guys kind of like, whoa. But it's either By You by Carrie Hilson and J. Cole, like BUYOU,
Mhm.
or any Ariana Grande song that she's released.
That's actually fire. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, get that look off your face, bro. You
Bro,
got
Ariana Grande is fire. I don't know what you're looking at like that for.
yeah,
You use it
bro.
to,
Or like,
to lift? Ariana
yeah,
Grande to lift?
Yeah,
yeah,
why not?
it's like it's enough to get you like your head bumping, but it's not too much. You know what I mean? But also sometimes like she sings about heartbreak, and you're just like, damn, bro.
Feel that.
I feel that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that feeling. And if it's not any of those, it's probably like some crazy stuff like Nicki Minaj or like Ice Spice or like even like old Rihanna, like early 2000s Rihanna.
Old Rihanna was good for real.
Yeah. Like I don't know, I was telling my friend about it. I was like, dude, not a lot of people know this, but like they think like we listen to like some hard stuff like rap or like some heavy like metal music or like rock music that our parents used to listen to. Nah, bro. I'll get behind some female artists from like 2000s, bro.
Amen.
Thousands R&B. I'll get behind some Nicki Minaj or Cardi B. Like throw that on. I'm working. I'm getting in the groove. But yeah, that's like my songs genre. You know the big three. But yeah, bro, I listen to a lot of music when I work out. But mainly it's like some female artists like Rihanna or like Nicki Minaj.
I can respect it. I don't know about this guy, but I can respect it.
No,
Yeah,
I totally was thrown off. I didn't see that coming at all. I'm gonna keep it buff.
you gotta
I was
try
ready
it.
for some like I listened to like J Bug, Get Me Locked In. I listened to some Common Kings. I wasn't ready for some Ariana Grande gets me in the spirit to push 500 pounds.
Yeah,
Go,
bro. I mean, dude, sometimes like in the weight room in the morning, like we have control over the music. I will play some Ice Spice, like out of nowhere. Or like we'll play like Sweetie or like City Girls, right? And like every guy in that gym knows every lyric to the song. Like if you can imagine like 50 dudes like benching heavy on a max out day, everybody's going bar for bar with City Girls, like gets you pretty amped, bro. And like obviously, like I'm not gonna tell you what happens, you know, like when we're all singing that, you know, maybe some like zesty stuff, you know, throw the wrist, like all that fun stuff. But yeah, dude, like if you give it a try, I'm telling you, just gotta feel the music, gotta feel, what they're saying, and you can do anything you want. Like I've probably hit some of my biggest PRs listening to like Rihanna.
Hey, man.
That's
That's what
awesome.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The female artists are powerful.
They are, bro. I'm
Yes,
telling you that.
sir. But yeah,
I'm happy that I'm happy that you find somebody to lift your spirits and get you all pumped up. That's incredible. That's why are you laughing? I'm being so truthful. I'm being so truthful.
I know you just, bro. You're just like shocked. You're like, dude, I thought you were gonna say some like some reggae music or like some
hardcore rap, some rock and roll.
I think me wrong. Like I listen to hardcore rap, but I always turn back to my ladies, man. They get me going.
Amen. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, that's all I got. That's all he got, right? You got
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
else? All right then. Well, we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come
Yeah,
talk
bro. It
with a
was
couple
a
of
pleasure. Was
idiots.
mine. Pleasure was mine.
I hope you had a good time. We had a good time talking to you, as
Yeah.
always.
No, this was awesome. I enjoyed it. I can't wait to see who else you guys bring on to the podcast so I can watch it.
For sure. We'll keep you posted.
Perfect.
But yeah, that's all we got. Hope you guys enjoyed. Fredo, pleasure, bro. Hope you take care.
Thank you.
And
Same to you, brother.
we'll see you guys in the next one. Shoot.
Shoots.